I'm Amy with a Y.
I'm Amy with an I.
And then we've got Kathy also with a Y. Okay, this is counterintuitive.
What are you trying to do?
Yeah, this is my friend Kathy, who I have known for many years and is sort of
There we go.
What's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry. I'm drinking and looking at my lizard who's being really weird. So I've known Kathy for many years. Kathy adopted my method cousin's 2 sons. And so she's honorary family. That's the word that I was going for.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out what you're trying to call Kathy right in front of her.
No, it's honorary family, but I was looking down and my dragon here is like curving his spine.
It's like, really Kathy's weird. Right there. She's like, like, wow.
Wouldn't phase me. I thought she was going to say train wreck, and it would have been
I didn't know.
We're all train wrecks here, as you can tell by my voice.
I like hot mess because then at least I'm hot.
Hot mess is much better than train wreck. Yeah. I'm going to move this camera just a little bit back because I don't
smear the Vaseline on it.
And I'm going to move this here so I quit moving to the side. So I today decided to wear my suffragette hat.
It's great. I like it.
Because I feel like it fit the theme.
Are women allowed to vote? No one ever asked me that. Like ever, they actually never answered me that.
Theory. So in theory, we got the right to vote in 1920, although I guarantee most Americans cannot tell you that.
Well, I walked up to the voting place and I said, "Are women allowed to vote?" And no one answered, so I left. So
you're
you live in Pennsylvania, right?
Right. I live in Pennsylvania. Right in that county that was like right on the line.
Yeah. So
no, I live in Texas. It literally doesn't matter. We still have Ted Cruz. If we can't even get Ted Cruz out, you think Trump's going to win the state?
So gross.
He literally left during the ice storm. We were trapped without power for 8 days, and he just flew off to Cancun. Like.
So anyway,
he's still
to talk about the horrible election, and so the reason I invited Kathy is that Kathy has a different perspective than we do, because those who listen to the show may know that Amy and I are atheists. Have we mentioned that on the show?
We talked about
that.
Programming. Well, I was raised Mormon.
But not anymore. So anyway, Kathy is not, though. Kathy is a Christian. And I would even say, do you consider yourself an evangelical Christian? Like, how do you identify your religious affiliation?
Well, I would say I don't identify a religious affiliation. I say I have a strong faith, because those are two, in my mind, those are two totally different things. Totally different things. The church we attend on a regular basis is evangelical, but just like looking at politicians, I don't like everything about it. I don't, no one's perfect. Nothing's perfect.
Right.
Fair.
Right. So I think it would,
can't be twice, right? It's already us. You can be them too.
So not for nothing, but my lizard that I have over here is shedding skin on me while we're talking.
Oh my God, Amy, you're
very distracting. I don't know what his whole tail's coming off.
Devil. Good thing you're in another state. I will commit acts of violence.
I know. So, anywho, so the
thing that I don't usually threaten her.
She threatens me all the time. Send help. The thing that ties us all together, though, is none of us wanted to see Trump be president. And so that is what we are here to talk about. The thing that binds us all together is this horrible, horrible man.
What happened? That's what I want to know.
I went to therapy today and literally talked about it in therapy.
My therapist is very much a liberal, and so she's going to talk to me about it next week.
Yeah, mine is also
Thursday.
My therapist and I met in my liberal group that I run, and she and I had talked before the election about how we had zero faith that Harris was going to win, and how adorable it was that people thought that she could win, but we were both just like, it's never going to happen.
I really thought that she was going to, and so I was crushed.
I forced myself not to have any hope because I strongly suspected Trump would win, and so I was just kind of like, I want her to win, but I'm going to assume she's not, and that way I won't be horribly disappointed when that thing happens.
Like I was.
But it was still very disappointing.
What made you think that?
I have no faith in America anymore, in the decency of people.
But everybody wore their mask over their nose and mouth.
So when in 2016, I think we all kind of went through this thing where it was everybody just sort of assumed Clinton was going to win. They were like, there's no way Trump's going to win. He's a joke. Like, he's just a joke.
I thought he was
not going to win. And I fell into that same trap where I was, I voted, obviously, but I think there were a lot of people who didn't bother voting because they didn't think it mattered, because they didn't think Trump was going to win anyway. And the devastation I felt after that was so palpable. Like, it was just, I was so crushed. And I just remember thinking, wow, that's what America wants. America looks at that and they're like, yep, that's the guy we want in charge. So this time around, living in rural Minnesota, I haven't seen much in the intervening years to think people have changed their minds about him. And so when he announced, I was just like, yeah, he's probably going to win. And I actually made kind of a conscious decision where I was like, I refuse to have hope.
I went the other way. I got all excited.
No, I was like, I don't want to feel crushed again. I don't want to be stepped up.
I was like,
I'll do what I can do to help her win. I will vote, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep my expectations as low as humanly possible.
The first time when Trump ran a second time, I didn't get my hopes up. I was like, we'll probably have him for 8 years. Mm-hmm. I was just resigned to that.
Yeah, I assumed he'd win the second.
I went to bed. I didn't watch anything. I just went to bed. I was like, this is not going to be good. Yeah. And then this time I was like, there's no way we've had this time without him. He's been convicted of 34 separate felonies. Like, clearly this is not the man for the job if he can't even work at McDonald's or whatever,
But honestly,
he did. Remember, he did.
Sure, for a whole day.
Worked at McDonald's.
And those people weren't staged because people would be yelling at him. I would be yelling at him.
I kind of remember thinking, okay, if America's not going to vote for Hillary Clinton, who by all accounts was probably the most, say what you will about her, the most qualified woman we'd had, at least. This is a woman who knew politics and policy and who tried to do absolutely everything correctly in this campaign. If we couldn't elect her,
there's no way we're going to.
Are we going to elect a black
woman?
I don't think so. No. I was like, no. We're not going to elect a woman, and if we do, it's definitely not going to be a black woman. So that's why I had zero hope. I did go to bed that night thinking, maybe after the convention, I had a little bit of hope. After I saw how well the convention went, I watched that whole thing and it made me happy. And I was like, well,
nobody cares. Nobody cares what Trump says. Nobody says
he can do whatever he wants and it doesn't matter. And I at this point, I'm like, he's never going to go to jail. He's never going to face consequences.
Well, Biden still has a little bit of time. He may have some executive orders under his belt that he might.
Yeah. So did you think he was going to win, Kathy? What did you think going into it?
No, I completely thought that Harris would take it.
Really?
I did. And I think the big shock to me was that I don't know people. I think it was like this big eye opener.
Yeah.
And I understand that from a faith perspective, there are people who have some very core values that are always going to lead towards a Republican ticket. I have
abortion.
Full disclosure, I have voted both ways because I feel like whoever is the most qualified should be in office.
Right.
But I don't believe people truly read deep enough to understand that Trump in office does not mean a ban on abortion.
Well, they're never, you know this as well as we do. They're never going to actually do it, ban it, or make it fully legal. Well, yes, but not entirely, just put it to the states. They're never going to actually get rid of it because it's such a good
fundraising
divisive point. Like, that's a fundraiser point.
I used to think that too. I used to think, it's not going to go anywhere. Really interested in it going away because they raise so much money.
It's too much. Yeah, there's too much money.
And if it goes away, they can't raise money on it. But then once Roe versus Wade went away, I was kind of like, well, maybe.
Well, I live in Texas where you can get an abortion on the corner. Or what's the opposite of that?
Oh, Amy.
I don't know. My punch card's full.
I know. You're such a whore.
Too many. The 10th one's free, Kathy, just FYI.
I think part of it too is because I worked at Planned Parenthood in the early 2000s, late 90s, right when George W. Bush was coming into office.
See, I voted for him, but I was Mormon.
Anyway, so at the time he was running, I worked for Planned Parenthood, and that was a big part of what had formed my beliefs around abortion rights and reproductive, care and stuff like that, just my work there. And I remember just being so upset because of all the things I was hearing about abortion in general. Like, I worked for Planned Parenthood, and I would hear, Planned Parenthood loves raising money on abortion, and and I'm like, but they don't. Like, I work here.
Most of the care isn't even abortion.
Well, it's not even that. It's like we're not even allowed to talk to patients about it, and it's not a moneymaker. And it's not like I knew all of these things that were factually untrue about what was being said, but none of it mattered. He won anyway, and then we had 4 years of just shit and chaos and war and awful stuff, and like. Well, and then he ran again, and I'm like, okay, he's gonna lose though, because he did all these horrible things. And I was an election judge that year, and I spent all day registering people to vote, and I was like, yeah. And then that night, I had that same like, oh, never mind. I guess everybody loves him, and he's gonna spend 4 more years fighting and going to war and sending people to die
for what was it, weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist.
Like, he doesn't, I was so upset by I guess these rich people that want to be in power and want to send other people to die for them. I guess they get to be in power because they have all the money and they control the messaging, and that's what America wants. And at that time, I quit being an activist for a while. I was just like, why am I bothering to do things? Nobody cares. I guess if people want abortion to be illegal, let it. You know what? If we have to go back to, I had done all this reading about the days before it was legal and how hospitals had entire septic abortion wards. In a hospital, you would have a whole ward that was just for the women who came in with a septic abortion because they had gone to get an illegal abortion and they had gone into septic shock, and many of them died, and they were usually mothers, and they left their kids behind. Like, just awful, horrible stuff. But nobody cares. They like George. It was just kind of like, okay, I burned out and I quit doing things for a while. Yeah. And then I got back into it, and then it was like, okay.
And now what?
Come on. Yeah.
Did it work?
Change, and we're going to do all that. And it was great for a while. And I remember when Obama won, just thinking, oh, finally, like being able to breathe again and going,
there's too much backlash. America is way too racist to have a black president for 8 years and not have a backlash.
I don't know. I think what bothers me the most is just...
And we can't have a woman. We need to have someone who's like boring white man who's also liberal as fuck. Go up against...
hard though. I literally told my therapist this today. What bothers me is that I see so many people at work, especially. I talk to so many random people, and I don't talk politics to them, and I don't know what their politics are. And most of them are good people. They're wonderful people. They care about other people.
Yeah.
They're throwing spaghetti fundraiser dinners, and they are doing, they're trying to take care of their neighbors, and they care. Yeah. And the fact that does not translate into how they vote is so frustrating to me. The fact that it's like
they're not seeing the same things.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I keep telling myself. They're not seeing the same thing.
I just posted that article about the algorithms and how the things we're seeing are so specialized at this point. Like, yes. I read a lot of science and math articles, so my things are very science minded or whatever, and so I understand that. And so you don't see the same things. Like, they didn't see him saying they're eating cats, they're eating dogs, blah, 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 or they didn't see him pretend like his microphone was a dick. Like, they didn't see these things.
It was such a classy moment for America.
He is my leader, my dear president. I'm going to talk about how sexy he is again for 4 more years, Amy.
Awesome. I'm really excited about that. By the way, this podcast brought to you by barefoot white Zinfandel.
It's not clearly brought to you by whiskey. It's brought to you by whiskey.
The cheapest one you can get at the
I cannot drink that stuff. That just looks like a headache to me. I can't do it. I'm way too old for that.
Yeah. No, I think
even though she's older than me.
I'm older than both of you.
Kathy's the oldest one here. See?
I'm the old lady. See, that's why I'm here. I'm the token old lady.
Amy's Gen X.
I know. I did blue fingernails for the election.
I had purple nail polish.
I'm Gen X. I'm the old end. I'm the old end of Gen
Kathy's
X.
Gen X.
I'm Gen X.
Yeah. So are you.
I own all the flannel and I have all the alternative rock. I qualify.
Yep. Same.
I used to have Skechers and flannel and stuff, but I'm the end of Gen X, cusp of millennial. So I'm right on millennial.
Yeah, I think so. Here's one of my biggest frustrations is that there are so many topics in America that are not opinion based, right? Like everybody has been conditioned to think I should have an opinion on everything. But there are so many things that there just is a correct answer to some things. And
that's your opinion on it. Amy.
But we don't care about evidence anymore. All we care about is, but I think this. Okay, but the evidence says this.
I have literally argued to death with my dad about the fact that the 34 felonies are real. He doesn't believe the 34 felonies are real. My brother, who's an attorney, who went to a very recognized law school, said, "Are you fucking kidding me? Of course they're real." And my dad still says the 34 felonies are fake. I'm like, based on what, dude? You have no evidence. And then I'll say something else to him and he's like, "Well, I don't think so." I'm like, "Yeah, but you also don't think the 34 felonies are real, so I don't really trust you." Like, you have no problem calling my brother if you're in a car accident, but you don't want to believe him on law stuff.
Even like, climate change, the economy, what works to help middle class people and what doesn't, what makes rich people richer and what we know.
Obviously
we know them.
Give tax breaks to Elon Musk to make the poor
we know
people
trickle down economics isn't a thing that works.
It never has worked. Not one time has it ever worked.
Who study it. There are people who study things who know better than I do. I can't do math. Don't trust me to tell you what we should do with the economy. Trust people who actually study it. But everybody thinks
I don't want to do math. I'm too cute to do math. I should be paid to just be cute. Thank you.
I can do spelling and that's it. But
I can do spelling.
I can't spell at all. I misspell words I use every single day.
Yeah, I was listening to NPR, like a good liberal should, the other day, the day after the election, and they were.
I had to start. Was it
Angela? Was it Angela Davis doing the call in?
Yes. Did you hear Tim from Brainerd call in?
Yes, I did.
Was your mind exploding while you were listening to it?
Was he a liberal?
No. So Tim from Brainerd, he was not a liberal. He calls in. And he's like, "Yeah, this is Tim from Brainerd." And I'm thinking, okay,
here we go.
Just based on his tone of voice, I'm like, well, he's listening to NPR though. So
right.
His wife is.
But then he's like, well, you know what? The most qualified person won. End of story. That's the way it is. The most qualified person won.
Based on what?
I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what color you are. I don't care about any of that stuff. And so Angela Davis, God bless her. I love her so much.
I love her. You should have come with me. She was here. I saw her a few months ago. Yeah, she was at the college. They did an evening live.
I think I remember that, and I've been so bad. Anyway, so Angela Davis was like,
probably was just banging some dude.
Probably, yeah. She was like, so what do you think, what was his most impressive qualification, would you say? And he's like, well, he's a successful business owner. And that's what America is. We're a business. That's what the economy is. It's a business. And he knows how to run a business. So best guy won. And I'm just like,
false.
There's so many problems with that beyond. No, he's not a successful business.
Will you give everybody in America some seed money? To just start.
Can I have $1 million to start? Like, no, Trump is not a successful businessman, just demonstrably. He's not, if you look at how he runs his businesses. And B, no, the American government is not a business and should not be run by one. Those are two facts, but it doesn't matter.
Well, I feel like if I would have listened to it when it was live, I would have had a high emotional response. I feel like I've been going through a grieving process.
Oh, absolutely.
And I went, the denial, anger, all those things. Now I'm at this stage of saying, and say, what can I learn? Is there anything we can learn from this? And am I really that naive that I thought that the majority of people would look at some of those actions and just say, this isn't someone who I feel comfortable leading me? But what I continue to hear over and over, and that's what that gentleman said, is they want that business side. And I think they're done with not having people that look like they're taking hard action. But that goes back to what you're saying. It's not fact-based.
No. It feels good. It feels good to them, but it's not the way it works.
The problem is, Democrats, we all knew that there was the algorithms and everybody was getting skewed information. We knew they were being lied to. We knew all of these things this whole time. We've known this whole thing the whole time, but everybody just assumed that they'd figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, they're smart enough to see through this. Everybody's smart enough to see through this, right?
They're smart enough to look at that guy and go, yeah.
Like everybody's smart enough to see through this, right? And then we have to actually come to terms with the fact that it has nothing to do with being smart. There is so much fear being sold to people, and they're hitting all of those notes that are just they have visceral reactions that they're voting for what they honestly believe is their best interest. They think their kids are going to be kidnapped and trafficked. They think their babies are going to be aborted. They think their guns are going to be taken away. Like, these are very important issues to people. And we're just like, we're not going to do it. They'll figure it out. But how can people figure it out? We're not hitting the same emotional notes. We need to hit the same emotional notes. I don't know how.
Exactly. And I think just like you look at someone who would vote for him and say, that's someone who's not educated. Vice versa.
Yeah, exactly.
Vice versa. They're looking at us saying, you're not aware. You're not aware of everything that's happening. You know, there's all this stuff going on behind the scenes, and you're just, bleeding.
Yeah, but they're wrong about it.
Well, yes, because the facts don't matter.
But they're wrong.
What happened was, I believe, I don't know if it's conspiracy theory, but I think the Heritage Foundation and a bunch of other people have been eroding education for a very long time, voted down the ERA, started putting prominent members of, or people in power that are very, very lean or conservative leaning, stacked the judges. Like, it's like a long-term game plan, and it's made the country what it is now. Like, we suck. We suck as a country. And there's not really any way to undo all that damage overnight, because you and I watched Mrs. America, Amy. We watched.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
We watched that movement of how they voted out the ERA. It would have gone through in the 70s if they hadn't had that grassroots movement.
That fucking Phyllis Schlafly.
It didn't stop, though. It didn't stop.
Yeah.
None of that stuff stopped. It kept going, and we ended up with Donald Trump. That's what we end up with, is a whitewashed education system where you believe that Moses wrote the Bible or hit Texas history, whatever it is. I don't even know. And that's what you get. You get people that don't know civics, economics, history. That's what you get.
Well, and this kind of goes back to, so Kathy and I were talking about, Kathy is married to, and I am dating two gentlemen who are union fellas. And both of them complain about how most of the people they are in the union with are Trump voters, like just open, loud Trump voters. And I know
it's so weird because they're voting against their own best interest.
My gentleman caller,
it's the same thing as women.
Irate,
why? Like, why are you voting against your own? But he's going to assault you. He will assault your daughters.
Yeah, he doesn't love you. But like, it infuriates me that why can't these people in unions see that he doesn't care? Like, why do they think he's the guy that's going to look out for them? I can't
says the right words. If he throws so many words out at any given time that eventually he's going to say something that everybody agrees with. And all they do is just take it out, and that's what they play. To the union guys that only Google union things, they're going to play this snippet of I've got the union guys' backs. I don't know I can't even find porn on my phone, so I'm not going to be able to figure out how to get around an algorithm.
Porn's not hard to find, Amy.
I live in Texas.
I'll send you some links. It
is.
Oh, they've blocked all your porn.
I cannot access porn on my phone anymore in Texas. I'm going to have to figure this out because it's drying up my spank bank. Sorry.
Oh, Amy. Oh, Amy.
Basically, I wanted to ask Kathy, what is it? What did they say? Is there a magic combination? What got to people? Like, what was it? Because I don't understand it. Like, I really don't.
I've been trying to look at the data because
yes, please.
It's so, which is not my thing, but it's so beyond what I can process right now that I'm trying to figure out what is it? And I know
That's what I would ask you. I'm like, have you found anything?
One of the data points that I saw was that it's about personal economy. It's not just the economy all over, but I need my world to cash flow better. And somebody who's
right now, it is.
Right. So somebody who's a businessman, they see as the one who's going to take it forward, and somebody who doesn't have that kind of a business world experience is not the right answer. It blows my mind. And for the first time, I think, and I'm probably wrong on that, but not all of the unions gave an endorsement. There were a few that just said, we are not endorsing, which is really mind-blowing. And again, makes me step back to say, what is it that I'm missing in the world? What is it that people are really prioritizing?
See, I don't understand it.
How do union leaders, because this is something I thought about too, like how are the union leaders not, like my ex-husband's dad, my ex-father-in-law was a union guy his whole career, and he firmly supported Democrats who were, union people. And when you would talk to them, they were very socially conservative, but the union was the thing that made them vote Democrat. And Democrats, you look at the name DFL, it's in the name of the party, it's labor, Democratic Farmer Labor Party. And when my gentleman caller voted, he put his I voted sticker on his hard hat and put DFL equals labor, wrote it in a Sharpie on his hat and wore it to work.
Thanks.
But he also feels like he can't really talk about it at work because so many of the people are for Trump. And he's still an apprentice, and he's somebody who, he's trying to make a name for himself, and he's trying to get people to want to hire him. And it's the kind of job where you make a lot of connections, and he doesn't want to rock the boat too much, but he'll get so irritated because he spends so much time on the job with these people, and you're working on a job where you're with the same people for weeks and weeks. And he'll have to listen to them talk about Andrew Tate and about how much they love Trump.
Do they say Friday? They probably say Friday.
I'm sure they do, yeah. Or got a case of the Mondays. I don't know.
Or hump day.
Or the best thing is he'll always be like, so I decided to share a room with this guy so we could save on the hotel. And he's actually a really nice guy. And then he started talking about how, she'll just go and the guy will launch into a conspiracy theory or something that's like, oh.
But which one? Some of them are real.
Hanging out with you all week in this hotel.
Like the earth is clearly flat because look outside.
Yeah. Well, listen, Drogon believes the earth is flat.
Obviously, my world is flat. Look outside.
He's got a whole brain cell. Yes, he's the only thing.
So here's a question that that I've had to think about quite a bit is, do we want Trump to fail in the next 4 years, or ultimately to prove this, or do we want him to succeed because it does impact all the things
I can't imagine a universe in which he succeeds. That's my problem. In an ideal world, it'd be great if he did succeed, just because I don't want people to have to suffer more than
I don't want him to do
right? But I can't imagine him succeed. I can't, especially the people he's going to surround himself with.
Oh, Bannon's back. Steve Bannon's back. He's out of prison now. He's actually making announcements for him. I saw that. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? He literally went to prison for corruption with the last election. Cool. Yeah. Okay. And now he's back.
And can you imagine if he actually lets RFK in charge of like health and human
medicine? He's anti-vax. Like, what is? It's like it's your own vice president didn't vote for you. Like this is.
I would like to see him do well, just because at this point I think a majority of Americans don't follow politics at all. And I don't think much of what we do matters.
They get their news from Facebook.
Yeah.
My Facebook is all just underwear and cars at this point.
Yeah, I don't think Trump failing does anything for my political party. Like I think he's going to fail because he's a terrible human and doesn't know what he's doing. If he doesn't, awesome. Maybe more people can stay in their homes, or less people will get deported.
Or less people will die.
Less people will die. Like that's
I'm hoping that if things stay at the state level, which I'm hoping it doesn't, honestly, I hope Roe versus Wade is, back and instated, but it's going to be harder. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that at least at the state level, people will start realizing that women are dying and actually give back reproductive care, because 2 women died in Texas last week or the week before. And there's this giant board of OBs that are saying, hey, this is insane. And they signed this giant thing and they're trying to get it passed.
I mean, if you look at the history of just abortion rights.
Oh, it's awful.
It was so hard for women to get that right. And what got it was women dying.
It has to be. It always has to be a case that is taken up all the way up to the Supreme Court. And it has to be a certain case. There's always they look for certain factors, because women die all the time, which is awful. But there's certain factors that they look through in order for it to go to the state Supreme Court and then up to the country Supreme Court. And it has to have that magic, that certain whatever. There's a whole radio lab about it, I think, when I don't know how things become laws or how things make it to the Supreme Court. It was interesting. I'm probably not making it interesting. But.
I did. I was listening to, just before we started recording, I was watching an interview from The Daily Show and I forgot who she was. Who was she? It was Desi Lydic, and she was interviewing somebody whose name I can't remember. But she was making the point that a lot of this is kind of this masculinity crisis we have.
Absolutely.
And that there are so many men who don't know what their role is now that we live in this world where their masculinity and their I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Their masculinity is not anymore defined by what their job is. And it's not because so many people are losing their jobs and there aren't enough jobs. And your masculinity is not defined by how you're better than women necessarily, because women are achieving equality. And now that you live in a world where you have to take care of kids too, and you have to take care of your parents too, and you have all these men who are trying to figure out what masculinity means now in a current context. And they have this guy who's telling them, we'll just make it the way it was. You don't
we're not willing to go back.
You don't need to worry about redefining what masculinity means or redefining your role in the family or figuring out, we'll just go ahead and go back to when men were men and women were women. And, don't worry about these trans people that are making it confusing for you. And it is something that I feel like you kind of see a lot of, and it ties into Amy and I have talked a lot about just the divorce rate among our friends who kind of hit their 40s and they're
because you can now.
Because you can. And
we couldn't.
That leaves all these men who are like, what did I do wrong?
So many things, Kyle.
These men, I feel like we have this entire generation of men who are good dads and they have done better than their dads did.
Yeah, well, that's a low bar.
It's just not enough. We still feel like they haven't been equal partners in taking care of the kids and taking care of the home. We've still borne the brunt of it.
Yeah.
So then you have them going, but I did the things I was supposed to do, and I still have this wife who left me. And I feel like there is kind of this crisis with men now where they're like, what are we?
It's fine. They go to therapy and then they get another woman that is also in therapy, and then they're
find someone else to take care of them, and then it's fine.
I refuse.
Yeah, I don't.
I am not a rehoming place for unhoused men.
You could probably set up a 501c3.
I'm sure I can. Texas is probably chock full of them.
Just think of all the men that could just live in your house. You wouldn't even have to go on dick appointments anymore. It'd be so convenient.
And I have to talk to them though, because me and talking to people.
Amy's
seen me in public. I don't do public love.
No, she lays around and does nothing.
I do not lay around in public. Oh, I do when I have a migraine. That's fair.
You would think that based on this, she would be bubbly and going out and doing stuff and talking. And now she just kind of.
I do not lay around doing nothing, though. First of all, I bring my party tits, and people talk to me.
I'm picturing us in Texas with you laying on the couch.
And I did lay on the couch. It was my birthday.
It was. And it was still fun because I was very, very stoned. So.
Oh, I'm about to.
Maybe that's the answer, you guys. We all just get stoned.
That's what I've been doing. I've been
here on out.
I've been stoned since it happened. So
except for when I
have to work.
You were stoned before it happened, Amy.
No.
And that's kind of my thought now is like, now what? Now what? And
now we survive. We
just have to survive. Yeah, I was hoping you had some kind of like inspiration
message for us,
something that you saw that we didn't, but we're all baffled.
Well, and that's the thing. And I look at this conversation, we have different views on certain topics, but we have shared views on others. And that's what I look at moving forward. How can we find common ground? And to your point, Amy, like the facts, what are the things that are facts that we can agree on and go forward with? I have a friend, I would say, in the community who I saw a couple of days after the election, and he was heartbroken, and he said his response was to make a large contribution to his favorite nonprofit. And that was going to be his move forward. And I thought that's healthy, probably healthier than some of the things I chose to do.
I mean, I did drugs and set dick appointments.
As well as doing that, I have decided that my way to deal with my anger is to make my ex-boyfriend's life a living hell on Facebook.
Oh, I'm also going to buy a car that makes my ex-husband mad.
Well, that too. But so I have this ex-boyfriend.
I'm very healthy, Kathy.
Yeah, we both are.
I can tell.
I have an ex-boyfriend.
I'm aging way better than him too. I'll send you pictures.
Oh, we all are. My ex-boyfriend, who I'm aging remarkably better than, is full on in the
clean
Trump
living.
cult. He's been in the Trump cult since Trump started. And all he does is post dumb memes. He doesn't even post. It's just.
Why is he still your friend if you're just making his life miserable? I would block you so fast.
I don't know. He's my ex-boyfriend. I want him to see how cute I am now and how much better I aged. So
yes, obviously.
Normally I don't comment on anything he posts, but the other night I was like, you know what?
You were texting me. You're like, look how healthy I am, Amy. I'm like,
I did. I'm like, this is how I'm going to channel my rage. I'm going to start just going to all of his memes and just posting shit on them just to annoy him. See how long it takes him to block me. He hasn't done it yet. He also hasn't responded to anything I've written. He just leaves it sitting there. I thought he was going to delete the one thing, but he didn't.
You mean where you told him he should go to a history class?
Yeah, I was like, have you ever taken a history
class?
Ever. Because we went to high school together. I graduated with him. I'm pretty sure we both took, but I guess not. The stupidity is just, it hurts. It hurts my brain. I try not to be a judgy bitch, but we all know I am. But sometimes the stupidity.
How are you trying? Wait. What active measures are you taking to not be a judgy bitch? Because I'm not. I saw this meme the other day, and it said, when people judge you, it tells you more about them than yourself.
Right.
And my response, I didn't respond though. My response wanted to be like, actually, sometimes it's about the ugly ass pants they're wearing. Let's be real. Sometimes I'm judgy for the sake of being judgy, and it has nothing to do with me. It's the fact that they are wearing those pants
you don't like. Yeah.
Like, okay, the lady at Skepticon. How many pictures do I have of this woman's hair?
Oh,
you were obsessed.
Oh, this lady. Oh my God. Kathy.
Think of like Scorpion music video from the 80s. Like,
big.
Your bangs went up to here. Right?
Big hair.
All my hair went up.
Yes, exactly.
Huge.
But there's
in 2024
around like this. And she was putting tons of effort into that hair.
She was very proud of it. And I took pictures of her because I'm like, every time I tried to get a picture, she would turn and walk away.
Yeah.
So I thought she was a ghost.
There's something supernatural about this woman because we can't get a picture of her hair. Mm-hmm. And so with the whole conference, we were all trying to get pictures. I'd be like talking to somebody, but
excuse me,
trying to get a picture just to prove she existed. I do have a few good ones, but we were like, my theory about that woman is that she was there with a much older man. I think he was her sugar daddy, and that his peak time was the 80s, and he wanted her to look like she was from the 80s, and she was going to do it because that's her sugar daddy, and more power to her. I don't judge her for her choices. The hair was amazing.
Judge her for
it was
hair.
Fantastic.
Everybody else who has changed their style, she's still wearing those bangs up to here. Like, it's every day. And it wasn't a fluke. It was like we were there for the whole weekend, and we would see her around in the hotel. That's what makes life interesting, I guess.
You're gonna have to talk. I'm coughing.
You're coughing. I sound like a haggard sea witch, Amy. Maybe it's sexy phlegm. I don't know. Did you on
it's a radio voice?
Yes, I know. On a different note that's not related to Trump, did you know that Keith Morrison was Matthew Perry's stepdad?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Did you read the book?
No, I don't read.
Oh, I read the book and then I listened to the audio book.
That's on my list. I want to read that.
Yeah. So I read the book before he passed, like when it first came out, and then I listened to the audiobook after he passed and he narrates it.
Really? I want to read that. That's one I want to listen to.
Huh.
I listened to Britney Spears' book. It wasn't good.
I have been listening to
it could be better.
So, in fact, last night, as we're going to sleep, I was listening to true crime. And
sleep with a boy.
My gentleman caller who was next to me was like, "Are you listening to a murder show?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
I am."
I thought he was asleep already. I'm like, "Do you?"
I discovered an author. I don't know if you read, Amy.
I don't. We established that.
I know. Hold on, I'm going to mute myself and get a drink because I'm very professional.
Oh my god!
But I discovered an author that feels like a drug trip. It's the smartest author I've ever read. Like, she's so weird. It's like intellectual, and the stories are so good. I've read 3 of her books now, and her name is Mona Awad, and she's written. I read Bunny Rouge, and I'm reading All's Well, and everything she writes is so freaking weird. They're making movies out of it, but I don't know how they're going to make movies out of it. It's Rouge is my favorite so far, where it's the beauty industry, but it's a cult. Like, she accidentally joins a cult. Oopsie,
as you do
from the spa, and but everything is it's just so weird. I really love her books. Like, I'm reading All's Well is about the medical industry, and Bunny is about it was a PhD literary program where the girls were cliquish. The girls were cliquish, and she was trying to join the clique and hang out with the cool girls in her her PhD literature program. Like, just focus on your thing, but it's fine.
My overarching thought of this whole discussion and from the past week or so is that
I just read a lot. That's what I do.
Democracy has outlived its usefulness.
I agree.
We need to put me in charge of everything.
I disagree.
And I've been saying this.
I disagree.
Thank you.
I think
2-1. Sorry, Amy, you didn't win.
If you just let me go crazy on medicine and on all the different, I really think
my drink magically replenished.
I may have mentioned this last time, but I've had this idea for years that I kind of want to run for something. I don't know what, anything, and be the liberal version of Trump and just say whatever crazy shit comes into my brain.
Oh, you're just a crazy, hysterical woman.
You know what? Here's what people like about Trump. I'm convinced he's authentic. They know he's not talking out of a teleprompter. He's saying whatever fucking crazy shit.
But he has so much. He's insane in his brain.
What if I did that? What if I ran for, state rep or something, and I showed up to debates and I was like, fuck you. You don't even know what you're talking. And I went on one of my delightful rants full of swearing where I just put them in their place. I didn't care what people said about decorum and about facts. And I just let
you would make our podcast blow up. Please do it.
Do you think I would be successful though? Like,
no,
there's room for a liberal version.
Wait, yes, Amy, go for it. You can do this.
I mean, do you think that can only exist on the right, or do you think we can have?
You can't exist as a woman.
I used to think Anthony Weiner could be the one to do it.
You can't.
What is Weiner and ruin it? But he was the guy that if you heard him talking when he would be talking in the House, he would just say shit that was like. No, I loved watching it.
I just don't think a female. I just don't think a woman can do it the same.
What if a male version? Do you think a male could do it though? Do you think if a guy ran on the left and did the same shit?
The problem is the left cares too much about the appearances.
I know
and how we treat other people.
And how we treat other people.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so Amy, this is unrelated, but you have to watch the Yoga Cult on HBO.
Okay.
That lady is like kind of the female Donald Trump. She's running a cult. So
I mean, yes,
she does the same thing where she's like, shit, fuck, like she's just swearing, she's saying whatever. They're making jokes about people being raped. Like, it's funny.
My point isn't even that I would do that. My point is just that I wouldn't bother.
Well, that's the female version of Donald Trump, is the
messaging or like, oh, I need to get these 3. I would just stream of consciousness.
That's what you do.
No, this is what I think. Like I do on the show. Yeah. What if I did that in politics? Could a person win doing that on the left?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think
so.
I
just don't think so. I just don't think so, because we're so, even though we're accused of being emotional, we are not emotional voters. We're just not. Like, I walk up to that and I have researched everybody on the ballot. I know who I'm going to vote for. I know where I'm going to vote. I just wrote Trump in everywhere. I don't know what you guys did. Local elections, I wanted him to be my my district solicitor. I wanted him to be my Parks and Rec guy.
Judge, definitely judge.
In Collin County in Texas. No, our judges were the ones that were running, the front runners against COVID. Like, Ted Cruz actually visited to like pat my judges on the back. So no, thank you. Actually, Trump would just fit right in. He would fit right in. No, so yeah, it's just, I don't think so.
So our point is that we have no hope. America's doomed, and to wrap things up.
You know what? The shooter next shooter might not miss. And then Vance will get thrown out of IKEA.
I'm just saying this, it
probably didn't happen. That's not nice.
I mean, at this point, how do we move forward?
Yeah. Drugs and alcohol.
We just do. We just put one foot in front of the other.
Like, honestly, we did it before. I survived him in Texas. I have Sid Miller as my freaking commissioner or whatever of agriculture. Like, he's an asshole. Greg Abbott's my freaking governor. Like, I don't live in a safe state.
People love an asshole in politics. I don't get it.
I think they think it's more authentic.
He's so
that's what I'm saying. We can be authentic too, though.
We are authentic. We're very authentic.
So can't you be authentic and kind? Can't they coexist?
Oh, absolutely can.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we've had whole shows about how, I mean, trust me, we are absolute assholes. But I never will punch down. I will never punch down. Yeah. I won't.
Well, and that, to me, like, that's at the heart of my voting in general, is all I want is the least amount of harm to the most people. Like, I don't want people to suffer.
But your groceries are expensive.
All I want. So. Like, I want as many people as possible to get food stamps and healthcare and just daycare assistance. And like, I don't want people to suffer. That's all I want.
Daycare assistance? That sounds awesome.
And so many people seem to just want to make sure that like immigrants suffer. Fuck those people. They're voting to be based
like my mom said, well, of course you deserve your education to be paid for. I'm like, go on.
Yeah.
Finish that thought.
Well, and there's so many people who are like, yeah, free college.
Keep talking. Keep talking.
Why shouldn't you? Like, why do we want people to suffer? I don't understand.
So what I did, because I'm a healthy person, is Tuesday picked a fight with my dad, who represents all Trump voters in my brain. Told him that it's embarrassing he voted for a Nazi and his grandkids will never speak to him. Because my kids are grown. They're not going to talk to their grandpa who's a Trumper. They just won't. And he was like, that's so mean. Why are you doing that? Why are you keeping them? I'm like, I'm not keeping anyone from you. They're adults. They voted. They know how you voted. And it's gross. That's basically it. So then when Trump won, because I am still a healthy person, I picked a fight with my dad the next day to continue the fight. He blocked me and then unblocked me. And so I fought with him again. And I think I got him around to thinking or to saying trans people are valid, which is awesome. So,
oops, sorry. I opened my phone and there was a funny.
What were you saying? That I keep going or keep trying? What'd you say?
What I had told you is that you keep hoping that your dad is going to change. And
that's what my therapist says. She was like, you are hoping at your own detriment that your dad. Well, it's hard not having a relationship with any of my family.
And I don't know what that's like. Like I have
no family. I have no family, which is why I have my adopted family, which you've met most of them. I have an amazing family, a group of people, but none of them are related to me.
Yeah.
So, except for my sister, who's actually related to me.
You know what, though? I'm okay with that kind of general move in society.
I like it. I love my family of choice. We're having Thanksgiving together.
Relationships with people who treat us badly. And
I'm not going to do that.
I mean, I don't know. It's a question I struggle with. Like, how much does biological family matter if they're people who don't respect you? And, you know, I see so many people who really struggle with their biological family.
I don't try.
And
I sent my mom a birthday Bitmoji last week. Her birthday was on the 7th. I sent her a birthday Bitmoji in a group chat with my other siblings. She sent me a private thank you, and I just said, "You're welcome," and that was it. And we'll go back to the group chat where all we do is talk about politics over her.
Ugh. Wow.
She doesn't like it.
That's all foreign to me. I have healthy core family and healthy shared values. We've got a few outliers, but really I've never dealt with that family fighting or
I'm so lucky.
They're very, very polite. And they don't understand why we're so angry. Why are you so angry? Can't we just all get along? Why are you so mad? Can't you just my dad asked me on Wednesday, what happened to the joy, Amy? Because remember, I was raised Mormon.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be joyful and joyous all the time. Women are supposed to be joyous. And I said, sorry, Dad, it was raped out of me.
Oh.
And he was like, you should probably work on that. I was like, oh, I'm fine. That just got your attention. So.
And that's where I go back to saying I talk about faith, not religion.
Yeah.
Yep. Mormons are especially bad. So they're just, that's why I couldn't go into any other belief system after leaving a cult, is because I no longer, besides the fact that I deconstructed my own faith, I didn't trust myself to believe in anything to that extent again. I just couldn't, because I had been in a cult for 34 or 36 years, whatever it was. So I think that's pretty common. It's easier for me to not, because it was a house of cards at that point. But that's when I became a Democrat too. Like, I switched all the way over because I was a one-issue voter. And once I didn't believe that it was killing babies, I was like, now I could be a decent human and vote for the person I actually want to. I wanted to vote for Obama, but Romney was Mormon. So.
Yeah. I just can't even imagine being in that mindset. Like,
I try really hard to put myself back when I'm talking to my parents.
Yeah.
But I'm so angry that I just don't care anymore. Like, I'm just so mad. And I just yell at them and attack them. And then my dad's like, you're calling me names. I'm like, I'm not calling you names. I'm being a bitch. Valid. I am being a bitch. But I have not once called you a name. I have not once personally attacked you. I said it's embarrassing that you voted for a Nazi, which is true.
Yeah.
And which it is. I was like, it's embarrassing, dude. It's embarrassing.
Yep.
I mean, he'll keep talking to me because he has to. He blocks me, but he unblocks me. So
I can't even imagine your dad blocking. Like, that's so
it's foreign
to me.
Well, and he's like, I don't understand why you're so like fighty. First of all, has he met me? You've known me for how long, Amy? Am I fighty?
You're very fighty.
Very fighty. Even though I'm quiet though, but I'm very fighty. And
it's the red hair.
It is. I'm literally like, I will fight. If I feel something passionately, I will.
I can't picture you as a Mormon. Like, I can't.
I wasn't a good Mormon.
I can't picture you Mormon.
I wasn't a good Mormon. I used to make jokes that made everybody very uncomfortable because I was me. And I make jokes in like Relief Society, which is the women's classes. And everybody would look at me. I was like, I'll go back to being quiet in the back. I hear you. Because they would talk about, bad things, like anchoring things to the wall, because you just learn how to be a mom, basically. And I was like, they'd only pull it over once, and everybody's like, oh, sorry. I'm back to being quiet. Won't make jokes about pulling things over onto kids. Sorry. And but my first word was no. That's what I told my dad. I was like, how are you shocked by this? I went to college on a debate scholarship. Why are you surprised by this? Like, this is not shocking. None of this is shocking.
Have you ever tried you raised me. What did you do wrong?
Well, I tell them I was raised feral. You know this. I tell my parents I was raised in a barn, and I'm feral, and I apologize for my behavior, but I was raised badly.
Yeah.
I was, though. I was raised by my imaginary friends. That's why I'm in therapy still.
Yeah. We're all in therapy.
Freaking imaginary friend was Amy mommy because I didn't have a emotionally available mother. It's a whole other issue, Kathy. We'll talk about that another day.
I was going to say, we need another hour. Definitely need another hour.
I go to therapy. I'm putting my therapist kids through college, I'm sure. Her 2 cats have the fancy litter because of me.
Yeah. My therapist.
Especially if I get this other job, it's going to be like, I'm going to buy our lake house.
I spent today telling my therapist, like, first we complained about Trump for a while, and then I'm like, okay, I keep having these bouts of like, just grieving for my old life, even though I know I'm happier now, but you have like these moments where you're just,
it's the comfort, the comfort.
Well, and it's, and she's like, I think part of that is, societal expectation, and you're supposed to want this one thing, and it was, I don't know.
And you think by a certain age you should have these things, but that's not reality for anyone at this day and age. Like,
well, and I think it's, for me, like this year will be like last year for Christmas, we were moving out of the house. We closed on the house December 12th. There really wasn't much of a Christmas because there just couldn't be. Everything was chaotic. We were moving.
Yeah.
So then this year it's kind of like, okay, maybe I could do some of that Christmas tradition, but I just can't. And then I think, I was the mom that made that magic for my kids, and that's not there anymore. And they're not going to have.
And they're older. They're older now, though, and it doesn't matter as much.
It doesn't. And I told my therapist,
do grandparents do it though?
Projecting this onto myself. I know a lot of this is me just, feeling guilty about it, but yeah.
Just tell yourself your kids will never forgive you if Christmas isn't magical.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
You're welcome.
This is why we all go to therapy.
This is why we all go to therapy.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's been an hour, and surprisingly, Amy, I pulled up Patreon because we still have patrons.
Because we're awesome. That's why.
There are people, Kathy, people pay us to record this shit.
Are they sane? Have you?
They are. They're saying they're amazing people. All of them are amazing humans. They're hoping that one of these days we'll show up just naked. I think that's what they're hoping for.
Oh, did they think they were on OnlyFans?
I think so. I think they're hoping at one point I'll just show up and like, I forgot my top. Oh no! What happened?
Explicit content, and then we never deliver on the explicit content.
I have so much explicit content on my phone, but it's just not shared. I do.
It's weird to now. I've got this whole new life I didn't have before. Where now
I've been divorced for 7 years, and it's been the horiest 7 years.
I open up my photos folder in my phone at work where I'm like, oh, I gotta find and I'm like, oh shit, delete.
And then my favorite thing is
that wasn't part of my life before.
When my significant other is with his kids, or when I'm with my kids, we like to send each other like gifts that are explicit because you hear it ding and you don't dare open it because you know who it's from, and you don't dare open it because you have no idea if it's going to be a question about do you want barbecue or like dick. You don't know. It's fun.
And then you think, how old am I?
Yeah, I'm 29. You know this. I'm 29.
You're 29 forever, Amy. Anyway, so I pulled up the patrons so I could list them off here, and so
I just have a shit ton of makeup on.
What I could do is I should just, there's like, you can sort these and shit.
And Apple fucked us over starting on November 1st.
What?
We have to subscribe now to Apple.
What?
This has been something we've been talking about for like a year.
You should really be more informed.
We're bad at podcasting.
I literally sent you text about it. Okay.
Oh, here, I figured it out. I don't read text messages. So
no, I don't.
I'm just gonna read our patrons quick. So apparently we still have them, and they are Fuck This Country, otherwise known as Nathan.
Oh, good. I met him. He's really cool.
Yes, he
and I actually have the same social energy. And I really appreciated that because Amy's like running around being chaos goblin, and I'm sitting in the corner just watching, and Nathan was sitting with me, and we were just laughing and talking about people, and it was super fun.
Here's the thing: when I'm with groups of people,
we were just like, "Oh my gosh, I love them!" Oh,
I want to interact with all those people. And that takes a lot of energy. I want to talk to every single one of you in this room, and I want to talk to you all night. And I need to figure out how to accomplish that.
I know because my blood type, and I'm good to go.
So no, I'm Chaos Goblin, and Amy's sitting in the corner like.
I had Chaos Goblin get me a drink though of water.
No.
She comes back. She's like, "This isn't water; it's alcohol."
I don't remember that.
And then she was like, "But I got Mia water. You can share it with me." I'm like, "Oh my God." So I'm drinking from her water. And then the next day she's like, "I have COVID." I was like, "Cool."
That's true story.
Cool. I didn't get it, but I had just gotten it.
I'm the only person at that conference who
I was drinking from your water though. I should have gotten it.
You should have gotten it. Rich should have gotten it.
But I just had it.
You should have gotten it. You were all interacting with me all week, talking to me.
Sorry. You mean 147th, Rich.
Only
Sorry.
person that got COVID. Anyway.
I know. I have to tell you something.
I'm talking like a horrible witch goblin now because I get colds and get sick and nobody else gets them. Okay, so we had Fuck This Country, Nathan, Jason Brooks, Wendy, Debbie. Debbie's our patron. That's awesome.
Nice. I like Debbie.
Life in the Left Lane. I swear to God, those guys forgot. They're giving us money.
We just won. That's it.
Forgot. Lois, Maddie, Natalie, Paul, Sana, Kimberly,
Natalie,
Mara Cowbell, who's going to give birth in a hot minute here.
Cowbell's going to have their baby probably around Thanksgiving. They are so cute, so pregnant.
I know.
I wanted to go out there before the baby was born, but I think I'm not going to be able to make it until after the baby happen.
And then
because that's the family, like they're the first baby in our family. Like
we're never gonna see, we're not gonna see Del for like 10 years after that. So
untrue,
because you know how it is with kids.
No, you travel with babies; they're so portable. You just stick them in your pocket. It's
super
easy.
You don't travel with toddlers. Don't travel with toddlers, but babies are.
I didn't see a movie for like 6-7 years after it depends on the kid. My first kid, I saw movies all the time. My second kid, I stopped watching movies. My third kid, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, what is a movie? Like, and she had light up shoes, so she would run back and forth in the front. That was me.
Okay. Anyway, I wasn't done yet, Amy. So we've got Cowbell, Freethinker 215, Heather, Randall, Yesh. I think that's all of them. And our 789th favorite, Rich. I'm just pulling that number.
I already said when it was nicer, but Rich, just remember who's nicer to you.
I feel bad about Rich. Actually, just last night, I'm like, I shouldn't message Rich. It's been so long. Rich and I used to message constantly, and now I'm like, is he still alive?
He's still alive. I've spoken to him recently. Yeah.
Okay. I should probably just check in and make sure he's still living. So that would be nice.
He is. He's fine. He's
anyway.
Whatever people do in states that are not red. I don't know what anyone does in states that aren't red. We're just dying here.
He smokes weed and pets cats.
Okay, so I'm living the same life, except edibles.
Pretty much, yeah. So anyway, thank you, Kathy, for being here. I hope this was so informative for you about how to professionally podcast.
Well, I think my whole thing was I just needed a big group hug.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, same. I do too. You can join my family because I don't.
Yeah. She needs more family members.
My adoptive mom is April, and she's mean to me.
She's mean to you?
She said she's very concerned about my vagina and her hot tub. I'm like, can you stop talking about my vagina every day? Like,
it's worth it though to get to hang out in her hot tub.
Fair. I'm gonna hang out with her this weekend.
Best hot tub.
It seats 12.
Kathy, let's all move to Texas and move in with her April.
So no.
She answered so fast.
So great.
Actually, where I live is amazing. It's actually really great.
Yeah, you live in the not terrible part of Texas.
Dallas is pretty terrible. Have you seen the protest that had shooters in it?
Probably. No, I don't.
This is where JFK was killed.
I haven't watched the news for years, so.
JFK was very old.
Who's that?
Yeah, exactly. He's dead now.
I don't know who that is. I had an American public school education, so.
I only know the Daniel Bowie and the Alamo, General Santayana.
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Kathy, for joining us.
And you take Texas history 3 years in Texas.
Okay, I'm going to go drink some more wine.
Daniel Boone, though? Did you say Daniel Bowie?
She said Daniel
like
Boone.
David Bowie?
She said Daniel Boone.
I didn't do well in it, but I had to take it 3 years. This is why I just do science and math. I'm not good at history. I don't remember any of this stuff. I'm not good at English.
All right.
And yet they're questioning why you vote the way you do.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Hopefully it works this time.
It won't.
Thanks.
Thanks to all of you motherfuckers who put up with the Amy's droning on week after week. If you enjoy their delightful bitchcraft, please follow them on all of the social medias and send them all of your money on Patreon or PayPal. You can find them on these platforms by using the Google machine. It's not hard. If you want to bitch with other fans about the show, join the Secret Soup Talk Facebook group. If you want to tell Amy and Amy to fuck off personally, you can send an email to secularsouppodcast@gmail.com, although it may go unanswered. Please rate and review the show on iTunes, Facebook, and wherever else you can review things like this. It will help spread the soup gospel far and wide. And hey, text someone right now. Tell your friends. As always, we'll leave you with the vocal stylings of Mr. Eli Bosnick.
Secular soup greed. Soup is the ultimate virtue. It's delicious, nutritious, patriarchy smashing, racism fighting, warm and fuzzy, human affirming, fun having, anti-theist, glitter throwing, tummy satisfying, pair of new shoes fulfilling, diversity seeking, happiness. Minestrone, beef and barley, chicken broth and split pea, gazpacho, tomato, clam chowder and potato, chicken noodle, beef noodle, egg drop and ramen cup, miso, gumbo, leek and pho. Grab a bowl and taste the magic. Slurp even this.